chapter 6 of Yesode HaTora, which deals with how we have to treat things that, mundane things, physical things that represent and have the name of God in them. הלכה א' כל המאבד שם מן השמות הקדושים הטהורים שנקרא בהן הקדוש ברוך הוא, לוקה מן התורה, שהרי הוא אומר בעבודה זרה ואיבדתם את שמם, לא תעשון כן לאדוני אלוהיכם. Whoever destroys, mutilates in some way any of the names by which God was called, any of the names that were reserved to God, he receives Malkut. This is one of the felonies for which one gets Malkut in the Torah, because for Avodah Zarah it says that we have, for idolatry, for alien worship, we have an actual mandate to go out and destroy things that represent them. When we arrived to Israel, we had a mandate to go around and destroy all the idol worshippers' places of worship. And the same pasuk says, you shall not do this to God, your own Lord. So from that last bit, we learn that we may not defile, destroy, mutilate things that represent and that have the name of God in them. It's not all the names. The Shiv'a Shemot Hen, there is 7 names that were set apart to represent God, and destroying them would qualify for this felony. Hashem Hanichtav, Yod He, Vav He, Vehu Hashem HaMeforash, what we call the explicit name, Hashem HaMeforash, and it's the one that's spelled Yod He, Vav He. V'Hanichtav Aleph, Dal, Dalet, Nun Yod, or the one that is spelled Aleph Dalet Nun Yod. Ve'el, another word is Aleph Lamed El. Ve'Eloah, Ve'Elohim, Ve'Eheyeh. Eheyeh is the name that God told Moshe Rabbeinu when Moshe asked, what name should I tell the Jewish people that sent me? V'Shaddai U'Svaot. So these 7 names, כל המוחק אפילו אות אחת משבעה שמות אלו לוקה. Erasing, mutilating even one letter from any of these 7 names qualifies for Malkut. כל הנטפל לשם מלפניו מוטב ומוחקו. Now we are going to talk about prefixes and suffixes. So in Hebrew, suffixes and prefixes are normally, they come to function as a totally separate word. So if I say Ha-Elohim, the He of Ha-Elohim is the article which we could translate to the English T-H-E, the. So, Kol HaNitpal L'Hashem Milefanav, every letter that comes is appended to the name of God before it, like the example I just gave. Mutar lemochako, that's permissible to erase. This is relevant, of course, if you're fixing a Sefer Torah or any other book, what can you or what can you not erase? כגון למד מילה אדוני ובית מבה אלוהים וכיוצא בהן, like these 2 words, the lamed and the bet of the 2 words we just read, this lamed here and this bet here, one may erase them. They are not, by coming before the name, they do not become part of the name. וכל הנטפל לשם מאחוריו, but if we have a suffix, כגון כף של אלוהיך, like for example the כף of אלוהיך, which really comes to say אלוהים שלך, the כף here comes to say your God, but it modified the actual word אלוהיך. As you see, it took out the mem and replaced the mem, became a כף. וכף מם של אלוהיכם, or the כף mem of this word אלוהיכם, again, come to replace the mem of אלוהים. וכיוצא בהם אינם נמחקים. This is part of the name and cannot be erased. And they get the holiness, the status of the name that they are modifying. And although they are sanctified and it's forbidden to erase them, המוחק אלו האותיות הנטפלות אינו לוקה, אבל מקים אותו מכת מרדות. The status of these two letters, although forbidden to erase them, is not as strict as the beginning of the name, in which if you erase one letter, you get malkut. The last two letters, you get a what's called a discretionary punishment. It's makat mardut. The court can decide how many lashes to give you for things under that under the Torah you would not be getting any lashes. That's called makat mardut. Makat mardut, let me just say, normally means that the act itself that was prescribed, it was prescribed by Hachamim, not by the Torah. Whenever you see Makat Mardut, immediately, automatically, your first instinct should be the Rabbanan. Dalet. כתב א' למד מאלוהים, יוד ה' מהשם, אינו נמחק. Let's say you didn't finish writing the name. You started writing Aleph, Lamed, you were going to write Vav, He, Yod, Mem, but you stopped there. Or you started Yod, He, you were going to write Vav, He, and you stopped there. What happens is, the word Aleph, Lamed, or the word Yod, He, in and of themselves, they also are names. Although it wasn't the full name you intended when you started writing, you wrote enough that it created another name, and one may not erase them. Ben tzarich lomar Yah, שהוא שם בפני עצמו. And obviously, not if you intended to write Yod He as a name by itself, although it's not the full 4 letters, Yod and He is a name in and of itself. מפני שזה השם מקצת שם המפורש הוא, because it's meant as a name that signifies partially the explicit name, Yod He Vav He. אבל הכותב ש"ד משדי, סבי ב' מסבאות, הרי זה נמחק. But if someone writes Shin Dalet of the name Shaddai, which is one of the 7 names, or Sadi Bet Misevaot, what happens here is, although this means something, Shed is a word, and Sav is a word, it's not a word that signifies God, as opposed to Aleph Lamed, which is El, signifies God, and Yod He, which it can be read as Yah, which also is a short version of the Shema Farash. So Sadi Bet and Shin Dalet, one may erase. שאר הכינויים שמשבחים בהן הקדוש ברוך הוא כגון חנוך, חנון ורחום הגדול, הגיבור והנורא, נאמן, כנע וחזק וכיוצא בהן, all other attributes that we use to describe God, especially in the tefillah, we say that he's Hanun, he's Rahum, he's Gadol, he's Gibor, he's Nora, he's Ne'eman, he's Kanna, he's Hazak, and so forth and so on. הריהן כשאר דברי הקודש ומותר למוחקן. These have the status of any other holy writings that are not the name of God proper, and it's permissible to erase them. To erase them, yes. To treat them with lack of respect, no, as we are going to see soon. Vav, כלי שהיה שם כתוב עליו, what happens if you have a piece of clothing or some kind of a thing, an instrument of some sort, a vessel, and the name of God was written on it, כוסס את מקום השם וגונזו. So what you have to do there is you have to cut the name of God, so the place where the name of God is written, you cut that entire portion where the name of God is written. This piece with the name of God in it, you have to treat it as genizah. You have to bury it, or do any of the other things which we can't do when something has a name of God. That's what we do nowadays with the Yesode HaTora that is no longer good, for example, or tefillin. וכן אם היה שם כתוב על בשרו, הרי זה לא ירחוס ולא יסוך ולא יעמוד במקום התינופת. And similarly, if someone has, I skipped a line, אפילו היה השם חקוק בכלי מתכות או בכלי זכוכית, even if the name was inscribed in something made of metal or of glass, ותיך הכלי, הרי זה לא כן, and then I go ahead and melt this, I take this, let's say, cast iron cup that has the name of God in it, and I melt it, therefore destroying the name of God. This is the same as erasing, and I get malkut. אלא חותך את מקומו וגונזו. Rather, I have to cut the place from that cast iron thing where the name of God is, that piece I have to bury or save it somewhere, save it from destruction, and then I can take the rest of the metal and melt it and do whatever I want with it. וכן אם היה שם כתוב על בשרו. Now a more difficult case, if someone has the name of God written on his own skin, then it's forbidden to wash that area, to put oil in that area, which is going to erase it, or to even go and stand next to a place that is a place of tinofet, of uncleanliness, like for example next to excrement. נזדמנה לו טבילה של מצווה. So what if the person must wash, for example, if he has to wash for ritual reasons? כורך עליו גמי וטובל. He should wrap around that area of his skin. Gemi is it's what they used to make papyrus from. It was very common, and they used to use it for a lot of things. So it has some of the qualities of rubber. You can tie that around the area where the name is written, and go ahead and submerge in the water. This is going to protect the name from erasing. ואם לא מסע גמי, מסבב אחריו, ולא יהדק כדי שלא יחוס, שלא אמרו לכרוך עליו, אלא מפני שאסור לעמוד בפני השם ערום. And if he did not find gemi, instead he should go and look around for this gemi until he finds it. This is a requirement. And when he ties it, he doesn't need to tie it. He should not tie it actually too tightly, because that's going to impede the tevilah, the ritual bathing, from being fulfilled. And the main reason for which Chachamim say one should put something around the name is not to prevent the water from touching it, but rather from preventing the name to be exposed to one's own nakedness. הסותר אפילו אבן אחת דרך השחתה מן המזבח ומן ההיכל ומשאר העזרה לוקה. Not only the names of God, but also things that were sanctified for the Bet HaMikdash. If someone destroys in a destructive way any stone from the Mizbeach or from the temple itself, or the rest of the area of where the Mizbeach is, or for the rest of the area of the Bet HaMikdash, not where the Mizbeach is, Azara is, the Mizbeach is not, loke, he'll get malkut. שנאמר בעבודה זרה כי מזבחותם תתעשון, וכתוב לתעשון כן להשם אלוהיכם. As we started before, the pasuk that describes what we should do to Avodah Zarah, it says you should erase their names, you should destroy their temples, and then at the very end it says you should never do this to God. So we learn that any of the things, or each of the things that we should do to Avodah Zarah, including destroying them, we may not do to things that signify God, like the Bet HaMikdash and the Mizbeach. וכן השורף עשי הקודש דרך השחתה לוקה, שנאמר ואשריהם תשרפון באש, לא תעשון כן להשם אלוהיכם. And also, not only whoever destroys part of the temple, but even if someone takes עשי הקדש, if he takes wood that was sanctified, put aside for the purpose of the Bet HaMikdash. They used to use a lot of wood in the Bet HaMikdash. They used to have a lot of burnings, of sacrifices, and so forth. So if you take one of those woods and you burn it, not only do you do me'ailah, which is to use something that belongs to God and to take it for your own purposes, but beyond that, you're also destroying something that belongs to the Bet HaMikdash, and it's a violation of this commandment of לא תעשון כן. כתבי הקודש כולן ופירושיהן ובאוריהן אסור לשרוף אותנו לאבדם ביד. All of the holy writings, the writings that comprise the Tanakh, not only them, but also their interpretation, and also their elaboration, namely Torah שבעל פה. אסור לשרוף אותן או לאבדם ביד. It's forbidden to actively destroy them or burn them. והמאבד ביד לוקה מכת מלכות. If someone destroys them actively, they are liable of makat mardut. Again, it's not makat malkut. It's something that is reserved for someone who violates what Chachamim warned against. במה דברים אמורים? בכתבי הקודש שכתבו אותן ישראל בקדושה. What kind of holy writings are we talking about? We're talking about holy writings that were written with special care by a Jew. אבל מין ישראל שכתב ספר תורה, but if a heretic, if someone who is not, who wrote these things and he's a heretic, let's say a Christian Bible, if something was written by someone who does not share the same ikarim, the same axioms of Am Israel, so this is not a holy book, because nothing that was written in there was meant with the same meaning that would have been the case if a Jew had written it. When a Jew writes the word Yod He Vav He, the name of God, he means the God of Israel. When a Christian writes Yod He Vav He, maybe he's meaning also the Trinity. We don't know. It doesn't matter. Or he might mean someone who can die and can leave his son in this world, like the Christians believe. So if someone like that wrote the Sefer Torah, it could be the same exact shape, the same exact letters, beautiful calligraphy. None of that matters. We do burn this book with all of the names of God that are in it, because the one who wrote it did not really believe in the holiness of the name of God. And for the person who wrote this book, who is not a Jew who subscribes to these basic beliefs, this is one other book like any other book. And since the person, the writer, the scribe, has this mindset, the name never took on its holiness, the holiness we're describing in this chapter, and it's actually a good thing to burn a book like that. Obviously, if you own a book like that, and then you find that the one who wrote it is a mean and he had other things in mind when he wrote the name of God, you should burn it and destroy it completely, in order to not leave around things that can have the effect of promoting the minim and the masahem, the heretics, or the people who and their actions. And by the way, we are talking here about minim, not about goyim, not about non-Jews. We're talking about people who try to misappropriate Judaism in their own ways. So Christianity is a classic example of that. It's not like they woke up one day and they said, let's make up our own religion, let's decide what the rules are going to be. But rather, the religion is one of displacement. They take Judaism, they take the Torah, and they misinterpret it however they want. They take our axioms and they misrepresent them however they want, and then they claim that they are the real one, we are the fake one. Islam does something similar. They also believe that but they don't displace it. They say that we were the ones who fabricated a lot of the things. In any event, when someone tries to corrupt Judaism in that way, not as a separate and different system, but as if it were to replace the system, the halakha deals with this kind of attitude very severely, to the point that if we find a Sefer Torah that was written by, let's say, Jews for Jesus, we should burn it. However, but if a Gentile wrote the name of God, we have no reason to think that they were meaning something other than the God of Israel. We should treat this name of God with respect. And so too we do if any Kitvei HaKodesh, if the actual Tanakh was written by a Goy, or Balu, or it's Shebalu, it was written by a Jew, but it's no longer usable. It's too old, and it's already unusable. Then we should do Geniza with it. Again, Geniza means to safeguard it from active destruction. The way we do this nowadays is to bury these things. The way they used to do it back in the day was to have special libraries in which they deposit all the books that are no longer used, all the names of God are no longer used, like the very famous library, the Geniza of Cairo, where people actually stored things. So it's meant to have things be stored there forever. We do this underground nowadays. We're storing it. We are not letting anyone come and destroy it because it's a few feet under the surface and no one can reach it very easily. Now, very interesting halachot. They are very interesting because I think that these halachot help you understand these passages in the Tanakh. And whenever I come to any of these passages, I come back to these halachot to see what the meaning is. These halachot are going to indicate to us where in the Torah, where it says the word Adonai, for example, we are meaning the name of God, and where are we meaning like what the word actually means. Adon means sir, Adonai means my sirs, my lords, my owners, my dominos, as you would say in Greek or in Latin, sorry. So when are we meaning the name of God, when are we not in the Torah? כל השמות האמורות באברהם קודש, אף זה שנאמר אדוני אם נם נשאתי חן בעליך. All the names of these 7 names that you'll find in the stories relating to Abraham Avinu, they are Kodesh. They all mean to signify the name of God and have to be treated in the Torah as the name of God. Even the one that says, Adonai im namasati chen be'ainecha, when the 3 guests come to Abraham and he gets up and goes to greet them, and he says, Adonai, which you could translate really contextually as, my sirs, please, if I've found grace in your eyes, do not pass by and stay a little bit. I'm going to present you with some food and host you. Even that, which under a possible reading would not mean God, Hachamim decided, the conclusion was that it does mean God, and Abraham is referring to God. When it says Adonai, he's referring to God himself. Arehu Kodesh. Kol hashemot ha'amurot belot hol. On the other hand, in the story of Lot, also in Parashat Vayera, all the names that are said with respect to him are hol, are actually not holy, as if to say that what Lot saw was not, what did not signify God as what Abraham saw. Chutz mizeh, but there is one exception, Al na Adonai. When he looks up to these angels and says to them, please let me go to this other city. So he says, Al na Adonai, please do not Adonai, which could again be interpreted as sirs, but Chachamim understood this to mean that he's talking to God himself. כל השמות האמורות בגבעת בנימין קודש, all the names that are said with respect to the story of Giv'at Binyamin, it's in the book of Shofetim, in a very tragic story of what happened with the tribe of Binyamin. The tribe of Binyamin did something terrible, then there was a civil war, etc. So all the names there are Kodesh. כל השמות האמורות במיכה, in the book of Micha, in the story of Micha, also in Shofetim, all the names in that story are Hol. Kol hashemot ha'amurot benavot Kodesh. In all the names that are mentioned with respect to Navot in the book of Melachim are Kodesh. Kol Shelomo ha'amur b'shir hashirim Kodesh. Whenever we say the word Shelomo in Shir Hashirim is Kodesh, we are meaning actually, it's a metaphor for God, and it means the name of God. Like Shir Hashirim Asher Lishlomo, you may not erase that word Shelomo. By the way, when we say Kodesh, actually I don't know. Does this mean? I'm going to leave this as an open question. I'm not sure if this means that the whole book becomes Kitvei Kodesh, and therefore we have to treat it like we treat the Kinuim, or if it means that the word Shelomo actually becomes like one of the 7 names that may not be erased, and if someone erases it, he's liable for Makat Malkut, I do not know, I'm going to leave this question open. והרי הוא כשאר הכינויים. I'm sorry, the question is just answered. Every Shlomo that is mentioned Shir Shirim is Kodesh, but is treated like the Kinuim, is treated like the names that are not the 7 names, like when you use the word Hanun, Rahum, etc. Chutz mizeh, other than this one, Ha'elef lecha Shlomo, u'matayim nadrin et piryo, the pasuk that says that 1,000 are set apart for Shlomo. This is actually referring to Shlomo himself, and therefore it's not Kodesh. Kol Malchaya Ha'amur beDaniel, every word Malchaya, the king in Aramaic, that is said in the book of Daniel, Hol, Chutz mizeh, other than this one, Ant Malka Melech Malchaya, you are the king of all kings. So this obviously does refer to God. Vaharehu kish'ar hakinuim, and this is to be treated like the rest of the kinuim, like the word Shlomo. And with this we finish chapter 6. I wish all of you Chag Sameach.